Hi and welcome back to Garden Ninja. Now today's video is going to be all about protecting your hands, and it's a review of 4 different types of gardening gloves that I simply can't garden without, and I thought it'd be a good time to share my hints, tips and tricks with you to make sure that you don't waste money on buying gardening gloves that simply aren't fit for purpose. So come on, let's have a look at some gloves. So the biggest problem that I've had with gardening gloves over the years is poor fit. You're either cramming your hand into a tiny doll-like glove, or you've got a huge glove that's flapping around on your wrist, neither use nor ornament. And you'll also notice if you go to garden centres, there's going to be rows and rows of chintzy looking gloves covered in flowers, bits of rubber stuck on here and there, fancy materials. But when you get them, more than likely, they're totally unfit for purpose. So my review today is going to show you the gloves that I've used over the past few years that are worth the investment because A, they last longer, B, they actually fit your hands, and C, it's better for the environment because you're not buying and churning through endless pairs of gloves. I'm going to be reviewing 4 different types of gloves today, and these are the gloves that I use every day in my gardening practice. I thought it'd be a good idea to take you through the benefits of each one of them for different tasks that you may be doing around the garden. So the first set of gloves I'm going to be showing you are really distinctive, and they're these. Now these are gold leaf gloves and they're incredibly durable, and I'm going to show you in a minute exactly why these are my first preference when it comes to gardening gloves. The second pair I'm going to be walking you through are these, completely at a different end of the spectrum. These are cheap and cheerful thin latex gloves, and I'll be walking you through exactly what I use those for as well. Thirdly, I'm going to be showing you a winter option with these thick gloves. And then lastly, I'm going to be showing you a heavy duty option which I use for moving things like rubble, brick and any hardcore. Now these distinctive gloves are the Gold Leaf Tough Touch glove, and they're made from leather and they've got an incredible fit. They feel really snug. And the great thing about these is that once you start to work with them, you don't need to keep taking them on and off like other leather gloves. I've had leather gloves in the past that are badly fitting. They kind of feel like mittens. When you're grabbing stuff, it's really clumsy. But with the gold leaf ones, as you wear them over time, they kind of mould to your hands. And because they've got these gauntlets, it means that if you're dealing with thorny specimens, hedges, things that usually scratch your arms, these protect you. And really, once you've got these on, you can undertake a whole heap of pruning duties without needing to take them off. So these are my number 1 glove because they've got an incredible fit and you can use them all over the garden. Now the third pair I'm going to show you probably look really lacklustre compared to the first pair from Gold Leaf. And these are these gloves. Now these are latex gloves. They're really cheap. You can buy them in packs of 10 relatively cheaply from online stores. They come in a range of different sizes, but the benefit to these are that they're really lightweight, and when you put them on you'll see they really do mould to your fingers. And these are ideal for planting. So when you're planting up plants, or you're taking cuttings or working in the greenhouse, you don't want your fingers to get totally caked in mud. These are ideal because they allow you to be really dexterous, to get inside any niggles, nooks, crannies, plants without damaging them. So these are key, and I use these when I'm doing show gardens or planting up clients' gardens because they allow you to move around quickly without smashing off the different stems of your plants, knocking flowers off with your big thick chunky gloves. These are ideal. They are washable, so I will get probably a month's use out of them before they fall to bits, and I'm using them pretty much every day. But you can wash them in warm soapy water to keep them clean. They're snug to your hands. They're not waterproof, they're not thorn proof, and you don't really want to be lifting heavy sharp objects with them. They're not made for that. They're made for more delicate tasks, but are a definite go-to if you're going to be planting up your garden. Now when it comes to winter, one of the main problems is that your fingers can get really cold and it puts people off in gardening, such as cleaning leaves or tidying up the garden. So I've got this pair of thermally insulated gloves that I tend to use during the winter, and these are the third pair that I always recommend, because there's nothing worse than having your fingertips feel like they're going to drop off. So these have a rubberized, I think even vulcanized outer coating. They are waterproof and really warm, but the downside is they do make your hands sweat. So these really are for short, sharp jobs to keep your hands warm. But if you're going to be doing a lot, you probably want to pick a glove that's slightly more breathable. However, in the colder months, you'll be glad of it because they do keep your fingers nice and toasty. So the last type of glove I'm going to show you that I use in the garden are gloves like these. Now these are Clipit gloves from Threadstone, and these are heavy duty gloves, and they've actually got, I think it's some form of metal that runs throughout the gloves, so you can't cut them. So when you're dealing with really sharp objects, especially hardcore bits of rubble, you're putting your hands into places where you don't know what's in there, gloves like this are ideal. They've also got, if you can see there, these kind of Power Ranger rubberized knuckles. But when you're dealing with sharp and unknown objects, I would highly recommend a pair like this so that you don't end up with cuts on your hands when you're gardening. So if you don't want your fingers to look like you spent the past 50 years living as a hermit in a cave, then gardening gloves are a really good way to both protect your hands and to also make gardening that little bit more comfortable, because there's no point making it harder for yourself after all. So there we have it, my top 4 gardening gloves that I wouldn't be without. If you've liked this video, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel where there are loads more garden design, hints, tips and hacks, all there to save you time and help you make your gardens awesome. I've been Garden Ninja, I'm off inside, happy gardening.